House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls,
You're listening to House of Cards.
Today, the game is different.
I want to gamble. Gambling is a very serious business. Is that clear?
Welcome to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here, deep from the swamps of Jersey. We got a great show coming up for you. Businesses around the country have been hit hard by the coronavirus, and the gambling industry is no exception. Casinos, racetracks, sportsbooks have all been shut down, leading to lost revenue and lost jobs. How is the gambling industry dealing with this difficult time, and what can we expect in the future for the casinos and the sports betting industry? Well, we're going to find out because I'm going to be talking with John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. John always has some great information for us. So stick around. We'll be right back with House of Cards.
Money always matters. If you owe thousands in back taxes to the IRS, how much can Tax Solutions Now save you?
I paid less than I owe.
That's right, money matters. So call Tax Solutions Now and get the IRS off your back. Since 2014, Tax Solutions Now has been a leader in the tax resolution industry. That's why we say money matters. Remove wage garnishments, property liens, fines, and penalties. Qualify for the Fresh Start program or even uncollectible status. Money matters. How much can Tax Solutions Now save you?
I owed the IRS over $10,000. I paid a fraction of what I owed.
Call now to reduce or even eliminate your back taxes.
We were being audited. We couldn't sleep. We called Tax Solutions Now.
I called Tax Solutions Now and got the IRS off my back. Thanks. You saved us a ton of money.
Money matters. How much can Tax Solutions Now save you? Call now and find out.
Call 800-297-9788. 800-297-9788.
Psst. Yeah, you. Come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
You're listening to House of Cards.
You are more in need of a night in Atlantic City than any man I've ever met. I'd say sit down at a table, go for dinner, see a show, take a walk on the boardwalk and smell the salt air. But if you're anything like me, nothing after sit down at a table is going to happen.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. It goes without saying that this is one of the strangest times in the history of gambling in the United States. Every gambling market is feeling it, and certainly my home state of New Jersey is no different. Casinos, sportsbooks, and racetracks have all shut down, and everyone in the industry is wondering, where do we go from here? And to help us make sense of what's going on, we're always glad to welcome back John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. John, thanks for coming on.
Happy to be here. Happy to be anywhere these days.
Yeah, right. Boy, it's good hearing from the outside world. Yeah, I got to tell you, it seems I'm asking this question to a lot of people, but I certainly want to get your take on it because you've been reporting on the gambling industry for so long. Have you ever seen anything like this to hit the gambling industry in the past? I mean, is there anything comparable to it?
Not at all. I mean, obviously 9/11 had shockwaves, not only in the New York City area, but, Atlantic City was impacted by that. And even 2006, I guess it was, when New York and Pennsylvania opened up, and that impacted New Jersey greatly. And 2008, of course, had a worldwide economic collapse. So, I mean, there have been some shock waves before, but there's nothing like this.
Yeah, I know you talk to a lot of people in the gambling industry and the casino and the sportsbook business. What is their general feeling about the situation? Are they preparing for the long haul? Do they see light at the end of the tunnel? What is their general feeling about what's going on right now?
Well, I'm concerned because Atlantic City, as you know, had 12 and briefly 13 casinos, but generally 12, and then they went down to 7 a few years ago. And those casinos then rebounded, obviously, with less competition. And then a couple of years ago, we opened 2 new casinos, Hard Rock and Ocean Casino. And so there were 9 casinos, and so there was a little bit of a struggle there for profits. So now, long term, there was already some question, can the 9 make it in the long run? And this has only caused that issue more. But I will say that one thing New Jersey turned out to be very smart on was its embrace of online casino gaming in 2013, sure, and then online sports betting 2 years ago also. So about for last year, 2019, about 20% of the revenue for Atlantic City casinos came from online, whether online sports betting or online casino. So that money not only remains intact with online casino and probably goes up, and sports betting online goes down because there's not as much product. But, overall, they're still getting that revenue. Yeah. And so for states who have no online component whatsoever, the revenue just goes to zero. The tax dollars go to zero. So New Jersey has a little bit of a consolation prize in that respect.
Nowadays, everyone's throwing around the term the new normal. Once this coronavirus passes, we're going to have to get used to some new things in the casino and the sports books. I know Macau recently opened. In order to go into the casino, you have to have your temperature checked. You have to wear a mask. There's not going to be any food or drinks at the gaming tables. Is that what we're going to have to look forward to in this country? Do you think that the casinos are going to go that measure, at least early on?
Oh, yeah, definitely. But, it impacts if you think of the brick and mortar casino, if you go on a Wednesday afternoon in Atlantic City and, not in the summer, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of slot machines that are empty, right? So sure, the idea of taking out every other machine, so there's a little bit of space, or even, 2 out of every 3 machines, would not be a big impact there. You'd still have enough, games to play. And then on the weekends or in the summer, there might be an issue, but you can make that work. But poker, of course, the World Series of Poker in Las Vegas was recently canceled. You can't have 7 guys gals at a table. That's just not going to work. I don't even know if poker is going to work at all, frankly.
Sure.
And blackjack, is kind of and craps are collegial games where you want to have a lot of people together, and it adds to the excitement for the people. That's why they go. And so to not have that doesn't work as well. But I think for slots players, they'll be able to find sort of I can't call it a happy medium. There's nothing happy about this, but I think there'll be enough floor space that they can make that work. But it's just going to be gradual. I think that's the thing that I focus on. People are getting to this, like new normal or back to business or let's open the door. It's just not going to be like that. I mean, the fact is that no matter when any state decides to open up somewhat, a lot of people, including me, frankly, at my age, we're not going to run to the nearest casino or nearest barber shop or whatever. It's just not going to happen, and that's good, because then you can sort of phase things in where some of the employees come back, some of the customers come back. There is some business generated. There's a little bit of revenue, and that's good. And then it'll get better and better. I don't know if it ever gets back to complete normal, but it'll come. But it's just going to be in many, many phases.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Credit card debt can ruin your life. If you owe $10,000 and minimum payments are siphoning away your paycheck each month, you can get debt-free in less time than you think.
I've paid $800 a month for the past 3 years and haven't changed the balance on my credit card.
Get debt-free now has a program to reduce your debt, stop the harassing phone calls, avoid financial ruin, and settle for less than you owe.
I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders.
You're pre-approved for our special hardship program if you owe $10,000 or more. Upon payment of your new lower balance, your debt will finally shrink until you are debt-free.
My family no longer has 30 years of payments ahead of us at 20% interest.
There's no fees until you see results. So call now, make one monthly program payment, and free up your cash. Resolve your debt.
Call 800-515-1558. 800-515-1558.
You're listening to House of Cards.
I'll bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3-1 odds. Nope. 5-1. Nope. 10-1. You're on.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. It's funny you mentioned that. I mean, I had an interview with the president of the World Poker Tour, and I asked that question. I mean, after this is over, what are we looking at? I mean, are there going to be 5 people at a poker table from now on? Are there going to be less slot machines in the on the gaming floor? And, I guess they're in the phase of planning what's next. Have you heard anything about, okay, we're eventually going to have to open. What is the plan that we're going to implement? I know Wynn came out with a plan on the sanitation of the tables after everyone leaves or after a customer leaves. They're going to swoop in and sanitize the area. I mean, are casinos right now making plans for when this opens?
Yeah, I mean, they're having all those discussions, but I think the other thing to keep in mind is that there's liable to be kind of a new shock. It's not going to go exactly as we plan. On the bad side, obviously, there's all kinds of relapses and mutations of virus and, the worst case scenario. But there's a best case scenario, too. And that's that, these private companies have every single reason in the world to, find a vaccine, find any kind of aid to stricken people. Saving the world is nice and making some money is nice too. And, I think that's a little bit underrated that, the possibility is that within a few months, there's something that's a game changer that makes a lot of this go away. I'm not guaranteeing it, and I'm not guaranteeing the worst case scenario doesn't happen either. But I think we tend to get a little bit caught up in like, it's going to go exactly the way we think now. So it's getting a little better and it's going to take a long time. And the fact is we're not guaranteed that it continues to get better, and we're not guaranteed that it takes forever either. So, in my mind, I'm just thinking that something unexpected is going to happen, and I think casino officials are recognizing that and trying contingency plans of, best case, worst case, is they have to. This is their livelihood, after all.
You raised a great point. I mean, even if the casino is open, it doesn't mean that people are going to flock to them right away. I mean, some of these precautions that the casinos will have to take may even have a chilling effect on people going. If they're going to such lengths to take out slot machines or prevent people from eating or drinking at the gaming tables, that indicates that something still might be dangerous there. Will casinos have a challenge not only opening but attracting the customers back?
Well, they definitely will, but there's also another, kind of mostly unstated issue, which is that it's possible that a lot of traditional casino customers who have maybe only dabbled online will start doing that more often, and they might start enjoying that. Mm-hmm. And for the casino, it's much less revenue intensive, obviously, if you get the customer to play online the same game and the same amount of spend that they would have at the casino. But on an employee level, that's the worst case, because so the casino makes more money with fewer employees, obviously, and they're a business. But from, sort of human compassion level, you want as many of those casino employees to get their jobs back as you can. Mm-hmm. And, the casinos are going to have to go either way. And if it turns out that they struggle to bring back the customer to their brick and mortar casino, but those same customers are now, growing the business online, the casinos as a business will have to adjust. But that's going to be difficult, obviously, for the state. You're talking about literal unemployment numbers in Atlantic County, and so it's a serious issue. If the customers are willing to all come back, pretty much, they can bring pretty much back all the employees, and then it is close to a normal. But I'm afraid that that's going to be an issue down the road.
One of the things that the industry shutdown affects are the businesses that pop up around these places and the casinos. A couple of weeks back, you wrote an excellent article where you took a stroll down the Atlantic City boardwalk. I mean, you certainly mentioned the casinos, but you also really painted a great picture about the businesses along the boardwalk. Can you give us a little insight on what you saw on that walk?
Yeah, this is March 19th, which is the first day of March Madness, which is not March Madness anymore.
Yeah.
Or a different kind. I call it March Sadness. Yeah. And, it was so striking because the boardwalk, it was like a 55-degree day, a little bit of sun in the afternoon, not bad. And you expect a lot of people on the boardwalk. And I was figuring there was like 1 or 2 people per block. So, I mean, you talk about social distancing. You forget about 6 feet, you've got 100 feet between people. And, the first wave of it for me was so sad. There's a semi-famous souvlaki stand at Atlantic City Boardwalk, and it's got never closed with 3 exclamation points on it. Mm-hmm. And, I took a photo of that, and below it, there's like a steel door closed. So the place that never closes was closed, and there were like 3 or 4 different stores that were open with, owners who had nothing else to do, just standing there waiting for customers that weren't going to come. But then, I got a second wave of it, which is that this is great. I mean, and especially think about it, it's a month ago, and already that social distancing and the idea that we can't just all congregate anymore had taken root down there. And it's one of the reasons why Atlantic County, compared to me up in North Jersey, is doing, exponentially better. Sure. Because there was a sense there that, we can't do this stuff anymore. And so that's probably the best hope for Atlantic City. But the problem is that their customers are not all living in Atlantic City, So while the locals, the very locals, are not as badly impacted, thank God, the tourists that they used to get, who are the lifeblood of the business, tend to be from areas like mine or New York City or whatever, and they're not necessarily coming back anytime soon.
Speaking of Atlantic City and the casinos and the sports books, New Jersey Division of Gaming Enforcement still puts out the revenue figures for the gambling industry in the Garden State. Yeah. And for some reason, I forgot the casinos and sports books were actually open for part of the month of March. Yeah. The figures came out, and they were definitely lower. In New Jersey, what do the revenue figures look like with regard to the casinos and the sports books?
Yeah, well, March 2019 is a normal March Madness. So you get $223 million casino revenue for all Atlantic City casinos. And then last month, $85.5 million, so about 1/3. So you not only had, so the casinos were open for half a month, so you think, oh, they're going to get half the revenue, but they missed March Madness.
Yeah.
So that's why instead of one half, they got about 1/3.
With regard to the casinos and the sports books for March anyway, did one do a little better, or are they still the same stats that we've been seeing? Golden Nugget is still the top casino, or is Borgata the top casino? How did they do in March with regard to revenue?
Well, yeah, Borgata is always the top brick-and-mortar casino, and Golden Nugget is the top online casino, and that didn't change. But I was sort of struck that normally when I'm digging through those numbers, that I do it every month, there are some casinos. Now, sometimes it's just a lucky streak, a bad luck streak, but there's usually winners and losers. This casino made, the most percent revenue, whatever, and increase. And then this one really actually lost money for the month, which occasionally happens. But in this one, everybody went down with the ship, like 40 to 60% or whatever, just across the board. No casino was spared, either brick and mortar or online.
Okay, hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day. If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation.
When I called, they asked me a few questions and matched me with a powerful lawyer who knew how to fight for me.
Call now. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-613-4611. 800-613-4611. 800-613-4611.
Hey, this is Dave Weishuttle from House of Cards with your House of Cards gaming report for the week of April 27th, 2020. The World Series of Poker has been postponed. The event's organizers announced that due to the coronavirus, they are moving the May 26th start date to the fall. 2020 marks the 51st year of the World Series, an event which draws thousands of poker players from around the world. Although casinos are shut down across the country, revenue from online gambling is soaring. Pennsylvania's iGaming revenue increased almost 25% in March, and New Jersey's online gambling sites saw a rise of over 21% for the month. New Jersey's online poker industry also doubled its revenue in March, netting the Garden State over $3.6 million. And finally, one casino has announced that it will not be reopening after the coronavirus has passed. The Lakeside Inn and Casino in South Lake Tahoe announced that after 35 years in business, it will permanently close. The casino has announced that people will have to check the website on how to cash in their slot tickets and chips. Some sad news coming out of Nevada. Have any news or tips regarding casinos, gaming, or legislation? Send us an email at newsroom@houseofcardsradio.com and follow us on Twitter at HOC Radio.
You're listening to House of Cards.
Where was the house? Where was the House of Cards?
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishuttle with you here. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with John Brennan from NJOnlinegambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. You know, I guess if you're looking for a positive aspect with regard to the gambling industry in New Jersey, I guess online gambling and online poker seem to be going through the roof. What do the numbers look like with regard to the online gambling part of the New Jersey gambling industry?
Yeah, I mean, if you take online casino revenue year to year, March to March, right? So you go from about 40 million to 65 million, March 2019 to March 2020. So that's a nice boost, you know. Online poker, you know, which used to be the much touted aspect of online casino, and then it got overrun. It's only 3.6 million last month, but that's double what it was a year earlier. So, and the significance of that is that even though that's a small number of the total pie, it gets you closer to where an online poker player can go on at any time of the day and find a game and at his price level, which you didn't have before. They call it liquidity. So that's getting closer to working. And if they can get a deal with Pennsylvania, which for some reason is still stalled, I think you can get sort of exponential increases, because with the increased poker play in New Jersey, plus Pennsylvania players, and you got Nevada and Delaware players also, then a player knows he's not going to get frustrated. Whenever he wants to go online and play a game of poker, he can get a game at his price at any time, and then that really is going to give it a boost. So, you know, there are consolation prizes in the grand scheme of things, because the land-based brick and mortar revenue is almost 80% of the pie, and that's gone for now. But 20% is better than nothing, and a lot of states have nothing.
With regard to the online casinos in March, who came out pretty well with regard to revenue?
Well, it's always Golden Nugget. I mean, they're the number one and have been, you know, month to month to month. So there's nothing changing. I'm
sitting in quarantine in New Jersey, and I can't believe the amount of television ads I'm seeing for online casinos right now. I saw Betfair, I saw Golden Nugget, MGM. The other day I checked out WSOP, and they have a free roll at 3:00. And one day they had 700 players in this tournament, and the number of people playing online will certainly drop off a bit once the casinos are back open. But as you alluded to, do you think that online casinos and online poker may have found an audience that they can sustain even after casinos open up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you know, obviously the brick and mortar casino audience tends to skew older, and you know, while obviously at this point there are plenty of seniors that are computer literate. It's not like 20 years ago. You know, remember my dad never did learn how to use a computer, because he once told me if I knew I'd lived so long I would have learned. You know, but nowadays seniors are savvy enough. They're online. They're on Facebook or whatever, but they probably haven't, in most cases, played online casino yet. But nowadays, I think they're going to be, you know, looking that way. And it's like in a social group, if 1 out of 15 people, one of them decides, my nephew or my son or whatever, my daughter, has showed me how to, you know, play online slots, let's say, and it's kind of fun, you know. Then and then they tell all those friends in their group, then they all try it out. And again, that's a group that is not going to be racing back to the casino, because even though it's going to be safer at some point, and there are going to be some, you know, loosening, they're still in the group that's not recommended necessarily to go. So I think that group is at least going to try it. It's not guaranteed that they're going to like it enough to say, you know, well, I'm just going to do this. I want to stay home. I want to be safe. You know, humans are social animals, so some of them are certainly going to say, you know, I don't want to take any chances, but I'm bored at home and it's not the same game, and I have to be with people. So it's going to be sort of a social experiment to find out.
Yeah.
I think a large number of that group are going to now learn how to play online slots or online casino play. But will that be enough to say, you know, this is good enough? I'm safe at home. I get to play the game. I get a little excitement. Or is it going to be, it's not enough? I have to be with people, and if I got to take a chance, I got to take a chance. I mean, yeah, you can see it in any TV interviews. You know, the older people get, the more they kind of say, listen, I've had a good run. I don't want to take any, foolish choices, but I don't want to, crawl into a hole either. I just I have to live, and whatever happens, happens.
I got to ask your opinion on something. I mean, I would never say that online gambling in New Jersey is keeping the industry afloat. I mean, certainly can never replace the casino jobs that were lost, and I guess we'll see if the federal government will include the casinos or the gambling industry in any further stimulus package in the future. But could a great showing of online gambling in New Jersey cause other states to enact online casinos and online poker in their gambling expansion legislation?
Yeah, that would be logical, but New Jersey has had online casino gaming for 7 years now. And for the first several years, it was kind of a blip, and then consumer awareness in general kind of rose and rose and rose. And so every month over month for maybe 3 years now, you're getting double-digit increases over the year before. And the money is now getting, fairly significant. It's, 14% of 2019 revenues for these casinos. So that's a pretty significant amount, and roughly the same amount of tax increase to revenue. So logically, states would have already seen that and already reacted. And yet there's very few states. Pennsylvania, being a neighboring state, I guess, was bound to wake up, and they've pretty much caught up. But, I thought other states would have already done it. So, yes, online sports betting, Governor Cuomo, who's a little bit otherwise occupied right now, obviously, in New York, but he still opposes online sports betting. So they're going to do it. And I think it makes sense for states to be considering this because no matter what happens, at least they have some kind of revenue. So they didn't react to New Jersey before, so I'm not sure they're going to wake up now.
Has anyone in New Jersey provided an estimate or a ballpark figure about how much revenue will be lost because of this pandemic?
I haven't seen exact numbers, but it's brutal. Just March, you're down about 140 million. In April, you could be down at least 200 million. And the big thing for Atlantic City, seasonally, is that obviously June, July, and August are where they make their bread and butter. So this is going to be close. We already knew in March that April was going to be lost, and now in April we kind of know that May is possibly lost. But June, maybe iffy. July seems not impossible, and if it's that late, September may be a boom because if September is good in New Jersey, and you pretty much can go about your business. The weather's pretty nice, so there may be a bigger September than usual, just because people get to go back to the casino. Yeah. But if it goes longer, and we're talking about November, December, there's a little bit of a holiday blip, but it's just tough for Atlantic City casinos because being so seasonal, they didn't get the worst of it, where this thing started and it wiped out. The first 3 months were the summer, right, and they didn't get it. But they didn't get completely lucky, and it starts, in January. And then January, February, March, April, okay, they can sort of, live without it as long as they're going to have a normal summer. So Atlantic City's right on the borderline where we may have a decent summer there, but we may not. We just don't know yet.
Whenever you talk about casino revenues in New Jersey, you also have to talk about the tax implications for the state. How is this affecting the state of New Jersey with regard to the lost taxes on the gambling revenue?
Yeah, well, you figure the brick-and-mortar casino taxes are a little bit below 10%, and the online sports betting and online casino are a little over. So if you call it an overall 10%, you're in the ballpark, and it's a little bit better. But so, New Jersey being down 140 million in March means they're down roughly 15 million in taxes, which is not a huge number for their state budget. But the bigger issue here is when we talk about jobs again, is that the New Jersey model is very different from the Pennsylvania and New York model, where they have very high taxes and they have fewer employees. So they get much more tax revenue per house, but they don't have as many employees. And so New Jersey gets and there's employee tax, and then those employees spend money, and so tax revenue is generated in different ways. So the New Jersey model is such that the direct hit on the overall budget is not very big because they don't collect that much in taxes, but it's the jobs issue that's kind of there. So either way, whether you go Pennsylvania, New York model, or New Jersey and Nevada model, which is low tax, there's a big hit overall. Whether it's more direct in some states than others, but it's going to be felt. But again, in the grand scheme of things, it's not the biggest number. It's really the human capital loss. These are thousands of employees, tens of thousands in Atlantic City, and we don't know if they're going to get their jobs back. And if they don't, this has happened before in Atlantic County, where there were points where the foreclosure rate was the highest of any county in the country. God forbid that happens again, but that's what has to be worried about, frankly.
John, we're running out of time, but I want to touch on another important topic in New Jersey gambling. One of the primary reasons sports betting started in New Jersey was to assist the horse racing industry, and I know the New Jersey horsemen are in the midst of a lawsuit against the professional sports leagues. Can you give us a little background of the case, and also where is the case right now?
Well, this happened a month after the 2018 Supreme Court ruling that threw out the basically sports betting prohibition outside of Nevada. And what the horsemen did, and they've been in on the case almost from day one, was to say, well, wait a minute, from 2014 to 2018, we were trying to get Monmouth Park to offer sports betting, and we were prevented from doing it by a judge who was relying on a federal law that turns out to be unconstitutional. So they say, there's a $3 million bond that they're chasing from the sports leagues that sued them. But they say, no, it's not just that. Those 4 years, we could have had $150 million in sports betting revenue, so we should get that. And a Third Circuit Court of Appeals judge in Philadelphia was somewhat sympathetic, saying, this law never was constitutional. When the day it was, printed in 1992, it was not legitimate. So maybe the leagues or the horsemen are entitled to this amount of revenue from the leagues. And so the leagues are now appealing, ironically, to the same Supreme Court that created this in the first place. This is the sequel. So traditionally, it's said that it's less than 1 in 100 chance that your case gets taken up by the Supreme Court. Well, the horsemen and the state already had that 100-to-1 shot come in previously, and then they won the case. Mm-hmm. And so now what has happened in the last week or two is that the horsemen have agreed. They sort of stood down and said, okay, we're going to wait until May or June, and the Supreme Court's going to let us know if they're going to take the case. And of course, if they take the case, then everybody gets out of the way and they're the last say, and that's the end of it. And if they don't take the case, which is still more likely, then it goes back to on the state level, and they have to try and hash out how to figure out. They call it discovery, where you have all kinds of depositions and other information, documentation. That could take a while, but it's amazing to me this hasn't settled. The leagues have all the money in the world. This is the NFL, NCAA, NBA, and so on. And the horsemen need every nickel they can get.
Sure.
And it's a $150 million dispute. I'm amazed this one has not settled, because tens of millions to the horse racing industry, thoroughbred side, would be, and standardbred also, but would be so vital to them. And it's a rounding error for the leagues. But in the court documents, it just seems there's a lot of hostility here, and maybe a little stubbornness, maybe a little bit of ego. And so on it goes.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more House of Cards.
Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore.
Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
We like to think that we live in a nice, safe neighborhood. The truth is that a burglary occurs every 13 seconds, and homes without a security system have a 300% greater chance of getting broken into. How many homes in your neighborhood were robbed yesterday? You need to start protecting your home and family today. Call now to get state-of-the-art protection. To keep your family and property safe, call the number on your screen now. Representatives are standing by to assist you.
You're listening to the House of Cards.
Whoa! I think we got a show.
Oh, yeah, we got a show.
We definitely got a show.
Oh, yeah, there's a show. Hey, it's all about ratings, baby, and we got them.
Welcome back to House of Cards. Dave Weishaupt with you here. House of Cards is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with Drizzly.com. For those of you just joining us, I am talking with John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. So right now there's no end in sight. I guess no one can really predict an outcome right now until the U.S. Supreme Court has its say on whether to take the case, correct?
Yeah, well, if the Supreme Court does take the case, again, they rarely do, but they tend to overturn. And the reason they take a case, that's because 4 of the 9 justices at least have decided this is worth looking at. So at that point, if they take it, that's why New Jersey was in a great spot a few years ago, is that they're inclined to say, yes, this is unconstitutional, and now the burden is sort of on the status quo side to say, oh, no, you misinterpreted it. Here's why it's really okay to stay the course. And, they can be convinced now and then. So if the case is taken, then the leagues are in great shape. And if it's not taken, then the horsemen get the advantage. So it seems like rather than settle now, each side is kind of hoping to get the big advantage, because clearly if the Supreme Court takes the case, there still could be a settlement before they make a decision. But again, if it's taken, then the leagues are in a great position, kind of as a poker game. And if they don't, then all of a sudden the horsemen have a couple of aces. So I guess each side is going to decide that they'll take that gamble to say, let's wait and see what the Supreme Court does, and then we both know who has the better hand, and then at that point maybe they can get a settlement.
How is the horse racing industry in New Jersey weathering the pandemic storm now? I know that in some southern states they're racing, but they don't have people in the stands. Does New Jersey have any plans like that in the future?
Yeah, I talked to the operator of the Meadowlands Racetrack, Jeff Gural, recently, and he said there is a definite framework for plans. They have the advantage, there was a prominent case in an Aqueduct where a worker who lived at Belmont Park but also worked at Aqueduct contracted the virus in March, and that shut everything down. But the horses are stable at those tracks. But at the Meadowlands, they're not stable there. They just come in on the day of the race. And so you don't have this whole community of not only horses, but also, full-time workers who live there. You don't have that. So for the Meadowlands in particular, you would have people coming in that day. So the idea of checking temperature and some of the other things you mentioned in other countries would be more feasible. So I think down the road that'll happen. The timing of this is brutal because the horsemen got a $20 million a year subsidy from the state just in 2019. That is really an annual subsidy. That it definitely helped the purse structure. And sports betting itself has helped their business as well. So they kind of were on an upswing for the first time in a decade or more, maybe 2 decades. And then this happened, so now everybody is sidelined. So they're in a tough spot, but they definitely have plans, I think, for racing without fans. I would say, if not May, then by June. If they have to go that route, I think they will.
John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. Thanks for coming on and giving us an update on these important issues in the gambling world.
Sure. At Bergen Brennan, so BERGEN, BRENNAN. And I tweet all links to all my articles, and then occasional other insights or observations about the industry, but I try not to overtweet.
John Brennan from NJOnlineGambling.com, USBets.com, and the Gamble On podcast. Thanks for coming on and giving us an update on these important issues in the gambling world. Thanks so much for coming on, and stay safe.
Oh, anytime.
And that's all the time we have this week for House of Cards. See you next week.
Across the desert plain, you build a house of cards around a lover's heart. Wild country in your head, gone dead, riverbed in the dust. You cry, 'cause there's no water in the sky. understand.